celebrate Yom Kippur, make some noise! One person who said, no! I will fast for no one! I did not either. Yeah. We got any Jews in the audience? Make some noise if you're a Jew.
Woo!
Right. Jesus Christ. You guys are ashamed. Well, all right, fair enough. For the rest of you, shalom. I am also Jewish. I have the most Jewish father in the world. I want to tell you about him real quick. This is the most Jewish thing that I ever saw my dad do. When I was a kid, I one time saw my dad send back soup for not being hot enough at the cafe in the Holocaust Museum. That is a real thing. It's called the Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles, and he could not tolerate the soup. He was very mad about it. He was like, this is lukewarm at best. Senor! Like, he got racist. It was awful. Let me tell you, it was the most embarrassing thing I've ever experienced, because, like, the Holocaust Museum of Tolerance, that's for Gentiles. That's for non-Jews to go and learn about anti-Semitism, learn about the Holocaust, and then go to the cafe for a little snacky snack. And the first thing they see is an old Jewish man just screaming about soup. And I swear they all had this look on their face like, is this a test? Are they trying to see what we're gonna do? And some people did not pass that test. They were like, see, it's not for no reason. It was wild. What I'm saying is that my dad is the final boss at the Holocaust Museum. You get past him, you're officially a friend of the Jews. Hell yeah. You guys are fun. I opened with a Holocaust joke just to test the waters. And you know, these waters, lukewarm at best. So, tell you about me. I lived in San Francisco for a while. I lived in, thank you, that was more enthusiastic than the Jewish movie. Like, whoa, there we go, that's a city. I lived in a place called the Haight-Ashbury District. All right, yeah, you've been to that fucking tourist trap? The fucking worst place in the world? I was there for 7 years. I hate homeless hippies now more than anything in the world. This is the worst genre. If you've seen them, if you've ever been to like Santa Monica, like white boys with dreads and tie-dye shirts and a dog, like, you want to buy some nugs even though weed is legal? Like, yeah, but not from you. What the fuck? Listen, it sounds like before I moved there, I had, what do you call it? Empathy. Not anymore. Fuck them all, fuck their dogs, I can't stand them. Just the worst genre of person, simultaneously the most chill and hostile human being you'll ever come across. They have weaponized chillness. They'll say things like, I'm gonna go fly this kite, motherfucker! And you're like, whoa, why are you mad about that? They ask for money in weird ways. Can I get $1? It's good karma. And I used to do it for that reason too. Good karma, right? What goes around comes around. Yeah. And then I learned that's not what karma means. You see, karma has to do with reincarnation. It means if you're doing well right now, that's because in a previous life you were a good person. Which conversely means if you are doing shitty right now, that's because in a previous life you were a piece of shit. See, karma is just a fancy way of saying blame the victim. So if you actually believe in karma and you see a homeless person, you don't give them money. You just go up to them like, my, how the tables have turned. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. And they're like, spare change, and you're like, nice try, Hitler, and then you run away. That guy's fucking Hitler. I don't know, just something about him. Just don't like the homeless hippies. I don't know. It sucks because, like, love them or hate them, at the end of the day, you know, they're just doing what they love, which is heroin. And I like doing like stand-up, it's a lot of fun, but I don't know, at the end of the day, it's like I'm not doing what I love, which is heroin. Do you guys like, anyone do heroin in this crowd? Make some noise. Just one person in the back. No, it's true. Actually, I used to do a lot of heroin, and then I decided I wanted to live indoors. So I stopped doing it. And it's hard to talk about on stage. People like really tighten up as soon as you say, calm down, relax, I'm clean now, try some heroin. It really takes the edge off. No, but it sucks because like, I want to talk about it more on stage, but people are uncomfortable with it. Which sucks because like people can go on stage and talk about habitually smoking weed, and that is celebrated in this culture. There's songs about that. Like, you guys know the song The Next Episode by Dr. Dre? Yeah. At the very end, Nate Dogg sings that hook, right? He's like, hey, smoke weed every day. Yeah, I love that song. I love the message. But like, I want our own version. What's the IV drug users version of that song? I think it's like, I got hepatitis C. Like, it's a lot sadder. No one wants to hear it at a party. I don't know, man. Like, weed is way worse than heroin. Hear me out, okay? Like, weed makes me feel bad. You guys ever smoke weed and feel awful about yourself? Yeah. You know what I mean? You guys ever like fucking had a weed edible and want to die? You guys know that? It's like I would take weed and I would get really negative in this very like introspective way where I'd be like, smoke weed and be like, oh, my life is falling apart. Yeah, some of that was the heroin, but it was also the weed, Like, you have to put that into perspective, because it's like I've stolen morphine from a sick man's medicine cabinet and felt nothing. But eating a weed cookie is the only time I ever said to myself, man, I gotta get my shit together. I got my life together. I gotta read more books. Like, that's the shit I would worry about. I'm reading no books. Every day the New Yorker comes, I'll read now one issue. I have to take heroin to calm down from the weed. That's how strong weed was. I'm gonna take it and be like, man, fuck reading, fuck books. I'll write my own book. And I'll call it My Struggle. And it'll be about seriously. I got 50 pages into a drug memoir called My Struggle before I realized, in German, that's Mein Kampf. And I, as a Jew, cannot write that. It is against the law. It's the edibles you gotta watch out for, man. The edibles fuck you up more than anything. I'll tell you, this is a true story, a thing that happened to me. One time I was in Portland, Oregon. And, alright, fine. I'm just getting Tucson. I just want to see how many cities get blues. No one liked Tucson. Alright. I was in Portland, Oregon, and I was high on a trifecta of weed, heroin, and vodka. What it actually was, it was heroin, vodka, and 3 gummy bears. And have you guys ever had 3 weed gummy bears? Yeah, that's a waste of heroin. That's really what it just fucks you up worse than anything. And so I was like really in my head with the gummy bears, and I was at this ATM, and there was like this guy in front of me. He was like finishing his transaction. It was taking forever. And then finally, like, I guess he could sense me because I was a junkie at the time, so I'm like behind him, and it was, when you're like so high that you stare at people like they are Netflix, you know what I mean? Like you don't even notice what your face is doing. You're just like, oh. And so I feel like he was getting uncomfortable. He was like, this guy's fucking staring at me. He's gonna rob me or something. And so he he finishes his transaction. He pulls out the money and he pulls out his card. But he's like nervous, so he drops the card. And I watch it fall for like a month. and it lands on the ground, just like doosh, 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 doosh. And I think to myself, all right, I'm gonna go pick up the card, give it back to him. Seemingly simple act of politeness. But I'm like really high on these gummy bears, right? So I am in my head about this entire like thing. Like as I'm going down, I'm just like, man, I am such a good person. Like, who else would do this for somebody, man? I'm a great man. Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, gummy bears. And so, as I'm going down, he decides that he is going to pick up his card before me, and my mood shifts. I do a 180, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? I was going to pick up his card, do something nice. Now he's treating me like I'm a thief, like I'm an animal. If you're going to treat me like I'm going to act like an animal. But that's all in my head, right? So now, he and I are in a slow motion race for his ATM card, and there's no way I'm letting him win. I'm just like, no, So I get down there, I'm like, and I have this thought, I'm like, oh shit. I'm at a crossroads in my life right now. I could either steal this guy's car and be the person he thinks I am, the thief, the vagabond. Or I could choose the path of righteousness and give him his car back and be that good person. You know, the one that's dashing and daring, courageous and caring. And so this is all going on in my head. What's actually happening is I am just staring at this fucking guy, just breathing hard, bloodshot eyes. And I'm just fucking pressing his car down to the floor, holding it down. He's trying to pick it up and snapping on all sides. And I'm like, let me think. So I realize I'm doing this to him, but I'm so high, because I'm like in my head, you know when you're paralyzed high? And I was just like, oh my God, this is so weird. The longer this goes on, the weirder this gets. Just give him his fucking car back. Apologize to him and give him his car back. But like, you know, I was high, so all I said was, I'm a good person. And as I said person, vomit began to pour from my mouth. But before I could land on the card, I covered it with my hand, and I just vomit all in the back of my head, like, blah, blah. I pick up my kit in my hand, and the card is immaculate. It's completely clean, surrounded by a hand turkey of vomit. And I'm feeling pretty good about myself. It's like, I didn't even get any vomit on the card. Hell yeah, dog. That's fucking... And he just like, he had the weirdest experience of his life. Like some guy tried to steal his car and had second thoughts and vomited on it and then covered it. And he like goes, what the fuck? He picks up the car and he leaves. And I just remember saying, man, no good deed goes unpunished. All right, guys, I've been Matt Lieb. Thank you so much.